Well, hey everybody, Pastor Kyle here. Welcome to the Daily Word, and we're going to continue our study through the book of Mark in chapter 5, and we're going to be looking at the last half of it today from verse 21 till the end. And we're in a section here where Mark is really setting the table for us that Jesus is not only human and is not only acting as a servant for the people, for the nation, really carrying that theme from Isaiah, but also not neglecting the fact that he is fully God. So he's not trying to create a dichotomy with John, who is really focusing on Jesus' divinity in his gospel, and Mark saying, no, I'm only going to focus on him being a servant. Those overarching themes are there, but we do want to see his deity here. At the beginning of chapter 5, we saw that Jesus is Lord over the angelic realm, the demonic realm, and he could command at his good pleasure the demons to do whatever he would desire of them. And here we want to see this in this story where Jesus heals a woman with this lifelong disease, and he heals a man named Jairus' daughter. That Jesus is also Lord over disease and over death. And so I'm just going to read through this, and again, as we go through, we'll kind of explain what we see. So it says, when Jesus had crossed again in the boat to the other side, so this is back to Galilee, a great crowd gathered about him, and he was beside the sea. Then came one of the rulers of the synagogue, Jairus by name, and seeing him, fell at his feet. So this is a synagogue leader, a local leader who is recognizing Jesus' divine ability. And he implored him earnestly, saying, my little daughter is at the point of death. Please come lay your hands on her so that she may be made well and live. And he went to go with him. So you see Jesus' heart in his kindness and grace and altering his plans and his mission here. Of course, in his divine sovereignty, he knew this would happen, but you see the kindness here. It says, and a great crowd followed him and thronged about him. And there was a woman who had a discharge of blood for 12 years and who had suffered much under many physicians and had spent all that she had. And she was no better, but rather grew worse. So the medical community couldn't heal her. That's important to see the story, that Jesus isn't just some guy who knew how to do some medicine. The pros could not fix her, the professional physicians. And it said she had heard reports about Jesus and came up behind him in the crowd and touched his garment. She just reached out to touch his garment. She had such faith that even if I just get close to this guy and can just touch his clothes, that's what she says, for even if I just touch his garment, I will be made well. And immediately the flow of blood dried up. Immediately. This is the miraculous work of God. It's not some slow, gradual recovery that, maybe could be credited towards the natural human body or to science. It's miraculous, instantaneous healing after 12 years. And she felt in her body that she was healed of her disease. And Jesus, this is awesome, in perceiving in himself that some power had gone out of him. That's so interesting. It's as if he could feel like through his robes, like, oh, some power just left me. Immediately turned in the crowd and said, hey, who touched my clothes? Who touched my garments? Because he knew, but he wants this scene to play out. And his disciples said to him, you see the crowd pressing in, don't you? And you're going to say, who touched me? Everyone's touching you. And he looked around to see who had done it, but the woman, knowing what had happened to her, came in fear and trembling. Now, all of a sudden, she had faith, but now that faith is realized, and she's like, I just touched the garments of God. And so she's trembling, and she fell down before him and told him the whole truth. And he said to her, daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be healed of your disease. What a grace. Right? She'd be used to the oppressive leadership looking at her going, don't you dare touch me. I'm holy. I'm above you. And Jesus says, daughter, your faith, what a wonderful thing. And I have given you what you have asked. So what a blessing. We see Jesus' power just to heal even a persistent disease here that no one else could heal. And so he's still on his way. And it says, while he was speaking there came from the rulers of the household who said, your daughter is dead. So Jairus, who came to him to get him and say, please heal my daughter. Your daughter is now dead. Let's not trouble the teacher any longer. These people didn't yet know Jesus' divine authority over death. But overhearing that, what they said, Jesus said to the ruler of the synagogue, don't fear, only believe. Look at what you've just seen. Don't fear, only believe. And he allowed no one to follow him except Peter, James, and John, that inner circle of disciples that were Jesus' kind of closest, the ones that he would entrust the most with ministry. And they came to the house of the ruler of the synagogue, and Jesus saw a commotion, people weeping and wailing loudly. And when he entered, he said to them, "Why are you making all this commotion and weeping? The child is not dead, but merely asleep." Now, what he's saying here, physically she is dead, but what he's saying is she's not lost. She's merely separated from, I can fix this. She's not dead in hell. She's not gone forever. She's merely enjoying rest right now. And they all laughed at him. But he put them all outside and took the child's father and mother and those who were with him, Peter, James, and John, and went into where the child was. And taking her by the hand, he said, "Talitha cumi," which meant, "Little girl, I say to you, arise." And again, what do we see? Immediately. There was no, well, gradually, maybe she was still alive and was just kind of weak. And no, immediately she got up. Immediately she woke up, and the girl began walking, for she was 12 years of age. And they were immediately overcome with amazement. And he strictly charged them that no one should know this. And he told them to give them something to eat. So he's kind of like, okay, we've come, we've helped you. Do us an honor and a service and feed us, give us a meal so we can be on our way. That's the way the culture would have worked back then. What we see here, again, I just want you to walk away with this. Jesus' immediate power over disease and his immediate power over the realm of death. Jesus is the Lord of hosts. He's the God of the universe. He's the one who holds life and death in his hands. According to Colossians 1, he is the one through whom all things were made and by whom all things hold together by the word of his power. And so when he says, "Little girl, I say to you, arise," what he was doing was supernaturally reuniting her body and soul so that she could rise to life. And the people were amazed. And he says, "Tell no one." Why? Because this was a gift to them. And again, his ministry is now culminating to the message of his ministry, not the show, right? Initially, he's showing who he is. And now the people have demonstrated their unbelief. And just like the parables, he's saying, this is for you, for the chosen of the kingdom. And so Jesus in his glory is God. So walk away encouraged by that. The God that we serve is amazing. And we'll see you tomorrow back in Mark chapter 6. Take care.